Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. And I want to say Shalom to Yakim Nakwalt out there pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. And I don't have a title for this one yet. I was watching this lesson here, put out by the beloved Apostle Gabar on his new channel. And it's not a... not necessarily like a replacement channel. There's nothing wrong with his original channel. It's still up. And his original channel is Daily Edification 4. You can go right here. In case you're not subscribed, all right, already, go ahead and subscribe. Daily Edification 4. This is his main page. And, you know, that's where he still puts out lessons on this daily. Now, I guess I've only been in the truth for going on almost 7 years, and I don't know if the page was up. I've definitely heard the name, all right, a GMS mailbag, and I guess that was a channel that Apostle Gabar had previously had. I am subscribed to one of the older channels. I don't know if it got shut down, if one of them got shut down, or he got locked out of one of the accounts, because that can happen. But there was an old, if it would load, that'd be fantastic. Let me see if I go to subscriptions, up here, if I click on it and go like that. But there was an old channel that he had titled GMS Mailbag. Let me see if I can do it AZ. If I just type in mail. Well, there was a channel. I used to be subscribed to it. At least I thought I did. Let me see. GMS Mailbag. Thought there used to be an older one. You know what it was? I think what I'm used to seeing is these reposts. Okay, this is GMS Walk and Talk 7. Okay, this is an older channel in itself. All right. So this is I'm subscribed to this one. Okay, this one's older in itself as well. This is 14 years ago. That's I'm not good with math, so 2012, man. So this is an older channel. All right, there's a lot of good stuff on here to deep dive. So I mean, this is another little deep dive that you can go through, right? Go and check that out. But anyway, back to the subject at hand. The apostle went ahead and created another channel, all right, for the GMS mailbag, and it's right here. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. It's titled the GMS Mailbag Channel, and it's just, if you need the @ you can just type in the GMS Mailbag Channel, but if you need the @ it's @ Daily Edification 4683. And, of course, you can read it here. It says, turned in to be thoroughly edified. And you will. And I was just looking for something to listen to. Because I was just messing around on the computer trying to come up with a lesson. Going around, I was designing a graphic. Well, I guess I didn't really start designing the graphic until it was a good chunk to the lesson, because when I got to the lesson, of course, in it, and the title of the lesson that I was watching is GMS Mailbag Episode 2, The Kings of the Earth Set Themselves, United Nations Pact for the Future. And I just, was listening to it. There's a lot of information brought out, and really what did it is I was watching it here, and I finished the whole lesson. It's an hour and 13 minutes. I just restarted it so to show you. And I saw that the apostle, right, in his bookmarks here, had the master plan, right? I saw the master plan, because you can see it right there, master plan. And I said, oh, that's a bookmark for the master plan of the Illuminated Rothschilds. So what I did was I just went and I typed in the master plan of the Illuminated Rothschilds, right? And you can see by the little graphic here, right? It's like a little square thing. And I said, is this the one? Because this is the one that comes up. And I went back and I looked, and you do a little bit of detective work, and you say, okay, you go down, you see that, and then you see that. That's the same icon. Well, let's check it out. Just wanted to make sure it's the same one that the apostle has saved, because it's got to be credible if he's got that one saved. So I go ahead and I click on it, right? Well, as you can see, I just clicked on it. There's an issue, okay, and we'll let that issue sit for a minute here. But what they're trying to do is, now it could be something as simple as the person that has the website doesn't have the money to host it anymore. Could be some type of the server could be having issues. But I'm not, I'm not denying that, but I'm also not stupid enough to think that this isn't something that would be taken down, especially when you look up the master plan of the Illuminated Rothschilds, and then for some reason the page doesn't want to load. And I clicked it, right? I clicked it. I'll click it. Here, I'll hold it up to the mic. I don't know if you can hear it because I got a lot of noise suppression stuff on, but look. You can see it up there. Right? And it's not my website because, it's not my internet because guess what? Boom. I can go to this one just fine. I can go to this one just fine. Alright, it's loading. It's because it's a video. And go back. Oh, would you look at that? It's the apostle himself. Right? Wow, ain't that something? Right? And I didn't even see who it was linking to. And now it doesn't want to let me out. But if I went and looked up, new movies, and I go and look on Rotten Tomato, it's going to let me look through new movies. And if I wanted to load it, go to Sugar Beach, and I want to go this, hell, if I want to go to the photos, it's going to show me the photos. It's going to load all the photos, and it's going to all be real quick. I guarantee if I want to play the trailer, I could go and, well, there ain't a trailer for this one yet. I could go and probably play the trailer. There's other movies that do have trailers out. They have to play on, like 40 Dates and 40 Nights. I guarantee it'll play it and start right up. Right? I bet I can even run it in 1080p. Yep. Everything's fine, right? But for some reason, right, it won't let me out here. Wants to have issues with all it, we're not morons, man. Okay? We're not complete morons. So anyway, let me try to reload it. The master plan of the Illuminated Rothschilds, type it again. So this won't load anymore. All right, but don't worry, still got it. Okay, still got it. And this is the importance of having an archive. Where were we? Right here. So I want to show you something. Let me show you one thing. Let me show you something. All right. So you go in here, and you go and you look at the address. Okay. You can go and see it. You can even go and share and copy the link, right, or however you want to do it. But the best way to do it is to just just open it, middle click your mouse, and it'll bring up the website, which of course is not secure, and it's not loading at all. Okay, it's not loading at all. But what you do have access to here, all right, is the website's address. Okay, now this will not load anymore. Okay, I'm going to show you this for you brothers and sisters out there that might not be terminally online, right, constantly online, or might not be so technologically savvy, right? And it's I'm not the main reason I'm familiar with it is because I'm on archive.org quite frequently, mostly because I'm into the retro stuff, as you brothers and sisters that know, that frequent the channel, and it's an archive for old. There you go. See, there's a perfect example for you. The site can't be reached. DNS probe finished, DX domain. So what does this mean? It says the browser cannot connect to the requested website because it cannot find the domain name. Okay, so basically the website's done. But there's good old there's game manuals, there's games, there's all these bunch of things that aren't necessarily sold on a platform. And some people would consider it to be piracy. Well, piracy is not theft. First of all, it's copyright infringement. All right, so and I'd asked that I asked it to Elder Manatazapa a long time ago, because I was like, is that technically considered theft? Because we're not to steal in this truth, but it's not. It's considered copyright infringement at the very most, and that's a Esau paper yoke. All right, that's one of their paper yokes that but it's not illegal. It's illegal to distribute. It's not illegal to download copyrighted material, such as like go and pirate a movie. All right, it is illegal to host a pirated movie, and there's gray areas with that. All right, and it's not illegal because it's theft. It's illegal because it's copyright infringement. Okay, and there's no biblical law on copyright infringement. All right, you want to know why? Because it's some Esau stuff. Because that's just something that wouldn't need to be spoken biblically. You have the rights to your trademark, and that's it. But now there's all people that try to fight over trademarks, they try to copyright words and trademark words and do all this extra shit. It's Esau and their yokes. They really want to be able to legally own a word. Right? It's just, no, I want to trademark the word fantastical. And you can go to court and fight for that shit. All right, just stupid. But anyway, because I'm someone who frequents archive.org. Archive.org has a very good tool. All right, you can go to archive. This is what you do. You just type in archive. If you type in archive, it'll show you. It's archive.org, but the technical name is Internet Archive. All right, you're going to Internet Archive. And bear with me. Bear with me just a minute. I'm going to turn on my filter so my account name doesn't go up and all that stuff. 1 minute. All right, Slack. Had to turn on my little filter I have where it filters out certain words. So let me reload it. Like account names, my name, and all that stuff. Let's go here. And let's go. Well, for some reason it's not working, but whatever. Let's go. I'll just edit it out in post because it still has my name up and everything. But anyway, let's go, and you can see the Wayback Machine. All right, what you're gonna do here. Okay, now it wants to work. And now that you're here, you have your link, right? You have your link, all right? Just hit copy, all right, and go over here. You'll hit paste, excuse me, and hit enter. And you'll see all these different times that it's been archived. So last time it looks like it was archived was April 30th of 2026. Boom, right? You have access to the website. They're trying to get rid of this tool. Okay, they're trying to get rid of this tool. News networks. All right, they're trying to get rid of this tool. Okay, and get a scripture we get all the time. But we're gonna get it again. And they say that's I'm not necessarily sure what the official narrative was. I remember I made a lesson on it not too long ago, but I can't remember what the official narrative of why they want that tool to be removed. Let's go look it up. Why do news networks? Because we know the real reason is because most news is digital now, all right? And digital news is the best for these 13 families and their descendants because, it's still the families, but not only the men themselves, but the people that come down through that line. Some of them are full-on luminaries. Some of them are, hidden. Some of them have other names. Some of them are like not as powerful as the other ones are, right? It just happens. But really, I remember there was something I read that really it was all the 13 families, the tiny tops, all technically they're all Rothschilds. Okay, they're technically all Rothschilds. Now that's just something I read that apparently that's just something that they went about doing because when they went about their world conquest. They didn't want, of course, you have Germany's, you have a Rothschild, and then you go to Ukraine, you have a Rothschild, and you go to Americas, and you have the Rothschilds, and then you go to Spain, you have the Rothschilds, and France, and the Rothschilds, and the UK, and the Rothschilds, then you go over to Africa, and there's the Rothschilds, and then you go over to Australia, and there's the Rothschild. They're everywhere, right? So they came up with, Vanderbilt, Rothschild, already was a thing, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, right, and all those different types of things, Vanderbilts, and so it seems like there's a little bit more variety, right? Now that's just one thing I read. I'd have to hear what the apostles would weigh in on that because they're more versed in the history. But I remember reading something somewhere that, of course, has been proclaimed as a conspiracy theory, that that's really what happened, that they're actually technically all back through that same family. And as the apostles teach, at least the apostolic bar, at one point he was saying he believes, I know now, I don't know if that's been completely 100% validated, but I believe his hypothesis about how the Rothschilds would go back to the Borgia family, and the Borgias are the first crime family, all right, as you'll hear the apostles mention. And I believe it. All right, I 100% believe it because that's everything goes back, and it's not so cut and cookie cutter paste, as these people would make it out to be. These people of the world, the people of the world are really dumb. They're ignorant, all right, and they don't really look into anything, especially anything important. With that, I'm going to get Ecclesiasticus 5 and 15 because it's a perfect segue. I was going to get it anyway. It says, be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small. You hear me get this constantly. You hear the apostles get this constantly. And because this is really, this is a commandment, all right? Because it says, be not. That's telling you, do not, okay? Do not, all right? And if you see do not, that's a command, okay? What is a command? Let's go and look up command. Why do news networks want, 1 minute, our Wayback Machine removed? But anyway, what is command defined? Okay, a command is an authoritative order, a directive, or a position of control. So an authoritative order, all right, does the Bible, does the Lord utilize his authority through the scriptures, or exemplify his authority through the scriptures and put it out there? Absolutely. All right, so the things within the scriptures are authoritative orders. When it says do not or you shall do, that's a commandment, all right? That's an authoritative order. Who's the authority force? Yahweh Shem Yahushai, all right? And who's the one that has to uphold that command? You, all right? And Yahushai did it, all right? And we're following after the footsteps of Yahushai as he walked on earth as a man, and trying to, be his good at it, for lack of a better word. I'm trying to figure out, but as good as it as he was. All right, and of course, that's no easy task. Okay, Yahushua was the only one to ever pull it off. Okay, he fulfilled the law. He was the only one to ever fulfill the law like that. Okay, and we've already essentially failed on that mission. If we're trying to be completely blameless, we can't be like Yahushua. Okay, because we've already gone off. Okay, all of us have gone off. Yahushua never went off. Okay, not as Yahushua. Okay, so But anyway, Ecclesiastes 5:15, be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small. So that's a commandment, and it shows you that you're not supposed to be being stupid with things. All right, if you see something, example, let me pull it up on the screen. Bear with me. I recently went back to Savers, all right, which is a thrift store. All right, you can go and look up Savers. I don't know. It's also under the Value Village. So if you're I don't know if it's I guess maybe, I don't know where, what is this, Oshawa, Ontario? Okay, so I guess in Canada maybe it's Value Village. But anyway, I don't know if they have, I'll look it up. I have the internet. Where are Savers thrift stores? Are there Savers thrift stores in Florida? They have in Missouri and all of the U.S. Okay. They're just naming all the ones here in Vegas. It says in your immediate vicinity, and these are all quite far away from me, so I'm fine with them staying up. My immediate vicinity. They're spaced out. There's a bunch of Savers. But it says no, Savers is not in all the U.S. states. The chain operates in about 29 states. Okay, for example, in the Pacific Northwest and Baltimore. Okay, I guess in some parts of Ontario. It says Value Village. In Chicago area, they're called unique thrift stores. So I don't know where all they are. We can go here. I don't know if it's going to tell us where all safety concerns. A needle, says a hypodermic needle and 2 partially used tubes of glue and a used mousetrap. Well, yeah, you got to be careful. Let's see. In October of 2019, a man reportedly getting a needle-struck injury when he tried on a boot in Value Village. Told he would need blood tests. Yeah, and then, the unfair pricing. Yeah, Goodwill as well. Thrift stores have become grift stores. All right, you can look up what that word means. Fucking grift. All right, but grift. Okay, petty or small swindle, fraud. Okay, and they're not thrift stores anymore. They're not thrifty. They're grifty. Okay, they're swindling the fuck out of you. What is a swindle? Let's see. An act of fraud, deception, or confidence trick used dishonestly to deprive someone of money or property. Or a scam, fraud, cheating you out of your money, really, because they get those things for free and they mark them up. But anyway, I was there the other day, and as you would know, if you have been on the channel and happen to catch the videos, I mentioned how they had these, just not too long ago, I talked about these biometric vein scanners that they have. And I actually got a photo of one. I don't remember if I got a photo of one in the past. Part of me remembers that maybe I did, but in case I didn't, the last time I was there, which was just yesterday, I actually went ahead. Actually, this photo said Thursday, so I was there yesterday because I went out to that family function. But before then, I went there because they have one over there because it's out of town. But I went to one that was actually specifically went one. I just stopped by one yesterday because it was on the way. But let me pull it up on screen and I'll show you what it is. All right, 1 minute. All right, here it is. All right, so you can see right here it says place wrist here. Okay, and let me make sure I get this pin so it's always on top. I'll just put it over there. And what this is, okay, is a biometric vein scanner. I mentioned these before in lessons, but now I have a physical picture that I actually took myself to show you. I'm not bullshitting you, man. I'm not saying, oh, this is, whatever. I mean, I could, if I wanted to go. I'm not going to go through all that work because I actually the guy won't. You have to be careful. What are we doing? What did it cancel out? Whatever. You already saw it anyway. But close out of that. 1 minute. All right, but I actually tried to record one time in there, and there's a Jake security guard in there that does his job too well. I mean, it's a fucking thrift store. He's like, hey, no filming. I'm like, all right, well, they don't like filming, so I but this, I just took a picture and I didn't see the guy around. Actually, was it the same store? Only one of them I know has a security guard, and it's the one that's in the tiny top area. Fucking funny enough, right? And they have a security guard there, and he stands by the door. And once you're out on the floor, you can fucking record. But right up at the front, he's right there, so you got to be careful. But I took a photo, and so this is what they look like. All right, you saw what it looked like. If you didn't, I'm not gonna restart the whole thing up. You can go rewind back, and it was the one that was on the screen. But yeah, man, real shit that you see in real life. All right, and the apostles, they talk about going to Whole Foods. And Whole Foods has the Amazon One, right? This device, I've seen this in person myself. All right, it might not be in the smaller towns, but the apostles, of course, they're in Connecticut, New York area, and I myself, and then Vegas, right? So at least the big cities have it, and yeah, man, right? And you put your hand over there, and this is one of those things that's an Ecclesiasticus 5:15 moment. Right? Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small, because they want everybody chipped. Right? They want everybody chipped. All right? As Aaron Russo would say, total control. Right? And that's what they want. And you can't be ignorant of those things. And another thing you can't be ignorant of is websites just going down. Right? Like, why is this site going down? Well, if you go, so this is the and actually what I did is I actually went ahead and archived this. I went ahead and got it into a PDF. I put it into a PDF. So if you go the master plan, I should be able to pull up my file from here. Right here. Boom. All right. I just put it in a PDF. All right. In case it ever just decides to disappear from the internet. All right. I at least have it on a hard drive, an SSD until the fucking EMPs blow off. So anyway, we have it here. I already have it already open. You can go to either right here, or actually what I'll do is I actually have a couple versions of it. This version. Anyway, I'll close out of that. What I'll show you is these guys actually had quite a bit of information. If I could click it. They have quite a bit of information once this loads. It's called Barton Hill Research Library, and you can see they have a bunch of different shit. All right, reign of Satanism, mafia, the state terror, handy sook. All right, place the first letter of those, or just look where my mouse cursor is at. Dope Incorporated, porn, food Inc. Right, music mafia, Hollywood mafia, banksters, all sorts of different types of stuff here. And naturopathic, herbal. They have a lot of different interesting concepts here. Some of it might be full of shit, but some of it's true. And you look through it, and it's no wonder why this website went down, right? And yeah, and they have a bunch of quotes different. It says search site, well, to your query. Google's not Google as suppressed there. But yeah, anyway, they got a bunch of stuff. You can look through it, but that's not what we're really dealing with today. That's more information, but we're going to be dealing with this and a bunch of other things. But again, in the spirit, all right, of not being ignorant, all right, of anything in a great manner or a small, that means what that means in short, and I've explained it time and time again, and I'll continue to explain it time and time again. And so will the elders, and so will the apostles. Of Great Millstone. Again, I'm not in GMS, but I follow after those brothers through Yahweh Shemao Shai, because they're followers of Yahweh Shemao Shai. So they're not gonna teach you anything that goes against the teachings of Yahweh Shemao Shai. And that you can fact check that. It's fact proof. All right, a lot of people like to talk shit on GMS, but they're the main camp out there, the prophecy camp that's actually bringing it out. Of course, you're gonna have individuals like myself, Men of Valor, not sure what's going on with Saints of Jersey as of the moment. There was a situation with that, but at least at one point, that teach as according to the Holy Bible as the same way that GMS does. All right, not adding shit. All right, not taking things away. Okay, and not trying to put our own motives and sugarcoating things, and just we don't do that. All right, so but. And this GMS, all right, doesn't have an issue with brothers like us. They have an issue with the ones that are being disorderly and teaching that you don't need the names, which is a fucking stupid thing to say. You don't need the names. Well, if you don't need the names, then why are there all these scriptures talking about the names? But anyway, we're not going to get on a rant with that one. I did want to show that in the spirit of not being ignorant, and mind you, and a great matter of small means something that's very big or something that seems relatively small. All right, something that seems like it could easily be swept under the rug. It's not too big. It's not too big of a thing. For example, a biometric vein scanner. What the fuck does that have to do with anything, right? That's not the mark of the beast. All right, that's nobody's buying and selling with a biometric vein, and it's not something that's implanted, right? So what does it have to do with anything? Well, that's what they call a predecessor. All right, that's what's the name for it? It's like a come on, man, it's like prototype technology, right? It's there's another word for it. I'm drawing a blank on it. It's not predecessory technology, but it's technological predecessism, right? I guess it's to overly fucking complicate it, but it's a progenitor. All right, it's a progenitor. That's the word. Call it how Shai. It's a progenitor. All right, let's look at that word, progenitor. Okay. A direct ancestor or originator of a line or descent, all right? And of course, it's dealing with biology and other things like progenitor, all right? Progenitive. Come on now. Technology. We'll just look and see if that's a word. Progenitive technology. No. Okay, let's look up I'll ask AI. What's the name for a piece of technology that comes before the main version? Not necessarily a prototype. Example. Instead of a digital microchip implant, they have vein scanner or other biometric scanners. Tap to pay, etc. There's a name for it. Precursor. A precursor. That's the name. Call it Yahweh Shemao Shai. Precursor technology. Technological precursor. Okay. Best fits for example, a precursor technology or a stepping stone. You'll hear the apostles mention that as well. So best fits, precursor technology, a mature technology that validates a concept. That's really it's the conceptual, right? Stepping stones, all right, as it says down below. They're stepping stones, all right. First you're gonna get this one, then you're gonna go that one, and this really started playing out. I can't date it to its original origination, but the easy what is it? Exxon Easy Pay or whatever it was called. Keychain. What the fuck was it called? Speed Pass. ExxonMobil Speed Pass. Easy Pay or whatever the fuck. It looked like this. And all that's in there is an RFID chip, man. All right, it's even shaped like one. All right, and this is the only image I could ever find of it. All right, Exxon Speed Pass. I'm downloading this image because I'm sick of forgetting what it is. Exxon. Okay. All right, why are you saving all these things? Because if you don't, they'll go away. Yeah, let's see if those went through. I think with these ones. Yeah. With the WebPs, you can just change them into PNGs. Quite easy. Alright. But yeah. Couple photos there, right? In case they mysteriously disappear. And I can always go and check that out. But yeah, it was called, there's no one. Look, credit on your key ring. Let me go and save this one as well. Because again, you could, they were tapping a little thing there. And this was way back in the day. Matter of fact, go. I remember going into this a couple, maybe not months ago, but look at this. I'll read a little bit of it. And this is from 2001, a couple months before September 11th attacks, really. It says, a little gadget called Speed Pass lets you pay for gasoline and snacks from your local Mobil and Exxon station in just seconds. Soon you could be using it at your neighborhood McDonald's. Speed Pass is a radio frequency identification device, RFID. Okay? Okay? And there it is. There's a photo. All right? And that's what people are getting, chips. Okay? People are getting and they use it, they're already chipping animals. All right? Now, get the chip, get your animal chip, get your animal chip, get your animal chip. And a lot of time there's fines if you don't. Right? But yeah. What are they gonna do? Find every fucking animal that's not chipped? Yeah, you know. But here's one with a and really it's not really implanted in their skin. It's on a tag that they bolt the tag to their skin. But still, I mean, the prophecy wasn't for animals; it was for humans. But you could see all these things. But if you look up you can just type in, just shorten it to RFID chip, right? And you look at all these different things. For example, this is from Vox. I got a computer chip implanted in my hand. Here's how it went, right? And people are getting these RFID chips. And look, it's causing development of autoimmune hepatitis. What is this? I don't even know what this is. But it can most definitely, it's going to cause a grievous sore like that. All right, it's prophesied within the scriptures. It's going to be a cancerous scab. All right, sore that befalls these individuals. Look at this. South Carolina college student tired of using his campus card implants microchips in his hand. It's a little excessive, don't you think? And they're tiny, man. And that's Revelation 13 and 16 right there. Let's go and get it. Okay, we'll start with verse 15. It said, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And the apostles talk about this constantly. You know, you're going to go back, they're going to take you to a, I don't know if you're going to call it an internment facility or whatever you want, and they're basically it's going to be a test of faith down there, man, and see who you're really serving. Are you serving the Lord or are you serving them? And they're going to try to, chip you. And if you say no, all right, more than likely you're going to be, your heads will roll. All right, you're going to go to that guillotine, right? And then Revelation 13 and 16, it says, and he causeth all. Who's he causeth all? And the devil, all right? He's going to cause all, you either get it or you die. And a lot of people are that afraid of death that they're just going to go and take it anyway. And it's not a point to, you're not going to want to live in that situation anyway, man. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor. So small in stature, great in stature, big names, no names, right? Rich and poor, lots of money, no money at all. Free and bond, those in prison, those that are out of prison, right? To receive a mark, all right? That word mark there goes back to the word charagma or charax, all right? Which is a thing engraven, okay? A thing engraven. A mark in their right hand, or it could be in their left hand, it could be in their butt cheek, whatever. I know people want to be funny. Say, oh, we're about to get in my butt cheek. Don't matter if you got in your big toe, all right? You're going to see that in verse 17. It says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. All right, there you go. Or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So save he that had the mark. So if you got it in your butt cheek, you had the mark, dummy. Okay. And they're going to deceive you individuals, all right, to go and to take those things, man. All right, let me get my sticky note. They're going to actually go and deceive you. They're going to say it's going to, can heal all sorts of different types of shit. It can make grandma walk again. It can help with brain function, reverse Alzheimer's. It can help, the biological function of the body, all sorts of different types of shit, all right? And we already know the deceived and the deceiver are his, right? That's scripture. You can put it, if somebody wants to put it down in the comments below, they can do so. And 19 through, come on now. There we go, 19 through 20. It says, and I saw the beast. All right, now who is the beast? All right, the beast is Esau's kingdom. Well, really, it's his kingdoms in methods of rulership, right? It's really the beast system. All right, I'll go and show you exactly what it is. We've showed it time and time again. All right, it's NATO. Okay, it's and I was thinking of what was I thinking of? It's the beast is it's also their system of philosophy, but the beast specifically is NATO. But the beast, all right, can also be referred to as like methods of government, right? Their philosophies, this stuff right here: democracy, religion, ideology, homosexuality, lies, adultery, covetousness, murder, over sexuality is another thing, playing into homosexuality, like promiscuity, sexual promiscuity. That's one of their big philosophies as well. Of course, you can't fit everything on one list, but this gives you, pretty much everything that you need. But the philosophies, of course, you'd have a whole page of the things that Esau likes to do. But yeah, the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns is NATO. All right, the 7 heads of the 7 governments, kingdoms ruled by Esau. Right, you can see it. Germania Major, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, the Germania Minor, the British, the Greeks. Those are all Edomite nations. And then, of course, you have right sitting up on top. All right, is the great whore herself. All right, America, Babylon, Babylon the Great. All right, USA. Right, and then the 10 horns, right, represent the EU. Okay, so the beast really is NATO. Okay, and it says, and I saw the beast, NATO, and these individuals. It says, and the kings of the earth, powers, presidents and rulers and dictators and monarchs and kings and queens, all them, right? It says, and their armies, okay, their armies, that's their militaries, gathered to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. Him that sat on the horse is Yahushua, And the horse specifically is the fathership, a giant chariot, all right, as the world knows as a UFO, and against his army. And his army is really the angels and the 144,000, right? Those men that are going to be having spiritual power as well. It says, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet. The false prophet is the Roman Catholic Church that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that received the mark of the beast. And again, they're going to be able to, the Lord is going to allow them. All right, let's go and get it. I know I said post it, but I'm going to go and get it. The deceived and it should bring it up. Job 12:16. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. So the Lord's going to allow these really small scale, if you want to get down to it, really small scale miracles to take place. And it's going to look like Grandma can walk again. It's going to look like Uncle Dave got his eyesight back. All right. It's going to look like Uncle Larry now all of a sudden he can hear again. Right. And to some people, those are going to seem like miracles. And I mean, technically, they're small scale miracles, yeah. And they're going to use those, right? As it says, with which, all right? With which means that's what he used, all right, was the miracles. With which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast and them that worshipped his image. And worship is, that's really, you're basically worshiping Esau. That's what you're doing. And because it's a digital all, okay? And when you have a Hebrew servant, okay, they're only to serve 6 years technically and go out in the seventh. Okay, complete. It's complete. I don't know if you want to consider it technically 7 years, but it's technically 6 years served, going out in the seventh. All right, so if you want to consider it 7, but that's what the scripture says. And when that period of time is up, and they serve their years, they're free, all right? They don't owe you any money. They don't pay anything. They're set free. Let's go and get it, all right? If thou take an Hebrew servant, Exodus 12, and we'll start with 1. It says, now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before him. And this is going to make a lot of sense, because really what happens here and the later verses, all right, verse 6 specifically, that's essentially the spiritual equivalency of what's going to happen if you take that chip, all right? It's essentially, that's why you hear the apostle say a digital all. We'll get there, but you're basically professing your love for Esau and not the Lord, right? So anyway, Exodus chapter 21 and verse 1, it says, now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them, if thou buy an Hebrew servant. 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. You don't owe him nothing. Nothing, right? Free for nothing. He's out. He's done. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. If you were taken with your wife and you were served for 6 years and you go out in the 7th, she goes with you, right? For free, for nothing, right? 4, if his master, there's a but here. It doesn't physically say but it's a but, right? There's a stipulation. In verse 4, it says, if his master have given him a wife, and she have bore him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her masters, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, and that's what essentially is going to be the same thing that's going to happen with Esau. You have these individuals, Jake as well, that say, no, I love my master, your master Esau, not your master Yahweh Shemel Shai. I love my master. I will not go out free, as it says right here. I love my master, my wife, and my children. I will not go out free. Then what's done? Verse 6, then his master, this is the stipulation, this is what happens if you chose not to go out free. Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door or unto the door post, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. Okay? Now, that's it. You're done. All right? Now, awl. This is an awl. Okay? They use it a lot in leather working. All right? And you're going to bore them through the ear. All right? And it also looks a lot like the situation, the little tool that they use, all right, the Koroks that they use to implant it. All right, this is the modern version. It's an awl, man. It's an awl, right? And that's a digital all right, within the skin. And once you take it, that's it. There's no going back, man. There's no going back. So, continuing up with verse 20, it says, with which he deceived them that received the mark of the beast and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. And of course, that's those that nuclear missile fire, man, from those ICBMs. But yeah, back on this from 2001, it says, Speed Pass is a radio frequency identification device that works like those electronic toll collection tags that attach to car windshields. In some cases, Speed Pass devices are even smaller, just 1.5 inches long. And notice, bear with me. And notice that they had to mention how small it was, just how small it was, because they've been the stepping stones, all right, have been happening for quite some time, and this was a great example of a stepping stone. All right, this whole mobile Exxon, and it went from the mobile Exxon to I don't know what it went after that, and then shortly I remember in what was it, 2012, 2013, when did chip cards become popularized? Because I guess they'd been around. I looked it up one time, and they'd been around for a while. But when it was mandated that they were in all things. Right here, 2015. Now I guess 1980s and 1990s, right? It says France mandated chip use on all debit cards starting in 1992. So technically goes back to 1992, but in the United States, 2000s European standardization. And that's the thing. America always like, we're ahead of the curve. We're ahead of the curve. You're really late to adopt technology. What the United States like to do is they like to let everybody else test it out, and then they like to get it, once it's time, because they want to make sure it fits their purpose. Right? That's what they do. But for a country that claims to be so like technologically and on the verge, just finding everything, you're pretty late on adoption of just about pretty much everything. But anyway, 2015 United States adoption. It says the U.S. lagged behind Europe, but experienced a massive shift in October of 2015. I thought it was, I like to shoot it a couple years ahead. I'm like 2012, 2013, but yeah, 2015 does sound about right. It says major credit networks instituted liability shifts. I don't think I got my first chip card until like 2016, though. It says major credit card networks instituted liability shifts, meaning merchants who failed to upgrade to EMV-compliant terminals were held financially responsible for certain fraudulent in-store transactions. There you go. And that's why most places... I wonder how that works with Walmart, because everybody knows Walmart's one of the only ones that doesn't do tap to pay. They don't do that, right? But at the same time, they do insert. So I guess it is EMV compliant because they don't do tap to pay, but they do use the chip you insert instead of swiping. So I guess technically they are EMV compliant. And then look, it says, would you like to know more about the contactless tap cards and the dip chip cards? Yeah. Tell me about the difference. All right, because I don't know. This is a good learning opportunity. It says, while both methods use the same underlying EMV chip technology to secure your data, they handle the transaction differently. So technology dip cards require physical contact with the terminal reader. The reader terminal, excuse me. Tap cards use NFC, near field communication, radio waves to transmit data wirelessly. And NFC, you can look up, is NFC and RFID the same underlying tech? And it is, but just one's near field and one's radio field, or one's radio frequency. One has a higher distance of contactability. And it says, yes, NFC is a specialized subset of RFID. People say, oh, if it's an NFC chip, it's a different RFID chip. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same technology. It's the mark of the beast technology. All right, one's just closer, one's just further. Okay, and what you see with the modern RFID right now is not even the same thing that they're going to be implanting in individuals. Okay, because it's not far. And again, like I said, this is just me speaking right now with this part. All right, everything I said up to then was just fact, but this is my hypothesis. Take it or leave it, whatever you want. This is just my educated guess, just as the apostles have some. with my technological information, what I would or technological barely expertise. All right, I don't like to say I'm an expert on anything. Um, I've mentioned that the way I think it could go a few different ways. Okay, it could go a few different ways, and I'll show you how I think it could go. Okay, a few different ways how I think it could go. Okay, so what you're gonna have, all right, is this right here, which is gonna be the RFID. All right, a chipped individual. All right, so a chipped individual. Okay, someone with a chip. I'll actually just lower it down to 48. I'll go to 26. Someone chipped. Okay. Put it like this. Okay. So you got someone chipped. And what I think is going to happen, there's a couple different ways. There's a couple different ways that it can happen. Here's one of the ways. All right. So you have this RFID. All right. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have terminals. Okay. Or terminals, like a scanning station. And they're essentially, basically, they're both pretty much the fucking same thing if you really want to get down to it. But yeah, so here's the first way that that this could potentially happen. And then let me do one more. Type in Wi-Fi here. Wi-Fi transmission to, Wi-Fi transmission to data center, right? Essentially. Here, I'll just do it this way, right? I don't really have enough space up there. I'll just erase that. Okay, here's the first way. And like I said, I don't know which is going to be most practical to them. I'm not them, right? So how the fuck would I know? Here's the first method I believe that they could use. Okay, you have someone who's chipped. All right, you walk by. Let me do another little doors. Libraries, or no, stores and restaurants. Okay, pretty sure I'm spelling that wrong. It looks correct, but stores, restaurants. There we go. Stuff like that, etc. Okay, so you have someone who's chipped. They have the RFID. They went and got it, right? Whether it be at this time, more than likely something like this, it's going to be fully implemented. It's not going to be just like the early adoption, all right? Because there's going to be a time where it's optional. You can get it, you cannot get it, and then there's going to be a time where it's mandatory, and if you don't get it, you're not going to be able to eat, all right? And heads will roll, okay? And internment camps, all sorts of shit. So you have someone who's chipped, okay? They're going to go and take their way down to a store, all right, or a restaurant in order to get in. Again, going back into Revelation, I don't have it up, but anyway, Revelation 13:16, and that no man may buy or sell save he that had that mark, all right, or the number of the beast, or his name, roughly paraphrasing, right? So they have it, all right. You're not going to be able to go into that store if you don't have it. You're not going to be able to go into that restaurant if you don't have it. You're not going to be able to go to that gas station if you don't have it, which is basically a store. So how are they going to do it? A little scanning station, right? little station. You go over there, boop. All right, and they hit you. Just like think about how you can't get into certain buildings. All right, certain apartment complexes unless you have a chip. Right, you have a little like a little. It's basically a little NFC card. All right, that certain apartment complexes have. I've never lived in one that had it, but I've seen a brother that I guess his grandmother's place. You have to tap this little thing. Certain gyms, all right, unmanned gyms. I don't know if it was LA Fitness or Crunch Fitness or one of them. A couple of them went out of business. I think Crunch is still around, but I don't know if LA Fitness is still around or if it was just ours that went out. And I never went to it, but I just knew it was there, and I knew it went out of business. And you would tap, your card. You would have a card, or you would swipe it or whatever, and then it would let you in. But if you don't have it, you would be locked out. All right, you wouldn't be able to do it. If you try to get in, police can be called because you don't have access. Okay, and so yeah, that's you're gonna go. You're just trying to go into a store. And if you have it, someone who's chipped, they're gonna boop, and then they have those stations. Of course, they're gonna have a database of individuals, right, with people's information on it. All right, it's not gonna be. It's all gonna be stored on the blockchain. You're not gonna be able to fake your way through it, right? And unless you somehow copied, all right, and you have someone that looks a lot like you, and you somehow use a RFID skimmer. All right, somehow, and basically transfer, make a copy of their chip, and you do some, I don't know, use some type of special effects to make it look like you got in your I don't know. Anyway, that's just fantastical at this point. Could it potentially happen? Yeah, sure, but I'm sure they're gonna have some crazy technologies, and they scan it. Boop, they're gonna have all of your information. They have a database, all right, because they got to see if you are who you say you are. Just like a cop's going to be able, your ID, they look it up. Well, you're not going to have to look it up. You're going to have a little thing, a little scanner, for lack of a better word, and you're going to, wave your wrist over it, boop, and then say, oh, yep, you're good to go. It'll probably just flash green or red, right? If there's some issue, because it can flash green, it can flash green or red, and because they want to do that whole social credit-based, what is it, CB social CBNDC social banking. My God, social central banking digital CBDC. All right. Well, it's like SC. SCS CBDC or something. I can't remember what it was. It was a social credit system, central digital currency. I can't remember. There's an acronym for it, and I can't remember it. If brother has it, put it down below, please. And it's going to be based off of your social credit, just like how they're doing over in China. All right, because really America wants to be more like China. And everyone's like, oh, we hate China. We hate China. You hate China. All right. Your leaders do not hate China. They want to be more like China with more control. And, you're going to go to scan that. And then they say, oh, sorry, you've used all of your carbon emissions for the month. You're not going to be able to go in here. All right. And get food. Or they'll be like, okay, you're going to go in here. What would you like to eat? You're like, oh, I'd like to eat the steak. Sorry, can't have the steak. All right. Your carbon emissions too low. However, you can get the salad. What the fucking salad's not going to fill me up. Well, sir, that's all you can get. Right, and that's how it's going to be. It might flash red then, and while it's doing that, while it's being read, it's going to be sent to some Wi-Fi transmission. All right, to a data center. All right, they're going to have that. They're going to upload that data to a data center. All right, and the elites are basically going to be able to get that. These people that are your leaders. All right, for lack of a better word, are going to be able to get all that information, where you've been going, where you haven't been going, if you've been in the hospital, if there's any issues going on with your body, how much gas you've used, how much carbon emissions you have, how much meat you're eating, all sorts of shit. Total control. Total control. And if they don't like it was said in that interview with Aaron Russo, if they don't like something you're doing, if you're like, he said, if you're someone like me or you, all right, who's going against the grain, they can just shut it off. Boom. And you have no access. All right. Total control. Right, and he was talking to Alex Jones in that interview, and they can just shut it off. And guess what? You won't be able to have access to shit. It'll it could be null and void. You go to scan it, say nope, red, you don't have access. All right, leave. And so that's one of the potential ways to do it. That's probably the most easy way to do it. That's probably the most likely route that they will take it. But I've also thought there could be a middleman situation that could potentially occur. And what do I mean by a middleman situation is you have something like this, right? Or you have someone chipped. Oops, that looks ugly. I know it's not important, but it's going to drive me nuts. Okay, you have someone who's chipped and another person, all right, who's chipped. And maybe that first person, they're not really planning on going anywhere, right? They don't plan on going anywhere. They're just walking somewhere else. Okay, they're going to a park or something. Well, someone chipped, another person chipped, right? And it bounces off, all right? And the next time, again, this is like, there's a name for it. They were experimenting it with actually phone transmissions for like text messages and making them cheaper. Someone passes by you, all right, and your text gets transmitted to them, all right, well, and encrypted so they can't read it, all right, and they won't see it. It's just on the background and storage, and they pass and they pass and they pass and they pass and they pass, and it'll eventually make it to that person as a form of almost like digital mail, right? Not email, but a form of digital mail. Like it actually has to pass through the hands of multiple individuals. It's a weird concept, all right? It's quite a weird concept, but like a mesh network, all right? A mesh network, all right? Now you can look at what is a mesh network. But anyway, it says, we'll get back to this in a minute. Mesh network. Okay, a mesh network is a decentralized network topology where multiple nodes, routers, or access points connect directly and dynamically to one another to route data efficiently. So you'll have this one, all right, or this one, and it'll route data to this one, and this one will route data to this one, and this one will route data to this one, and which will route data to this one. It's also routing data to this one. That's routing data to this one. Okay, so you have a person with a chip. They walk by someone with a chip, all right, and that their data, this person's data gets transferred to this person, and this person's data gets transferred to this person. This person's data gets transferred to this person. This person to this person. This person to this person. This person to this person. And then when any of these people, all right, stop in to a scanning station, all right, it'll offload that information, all right? So you can see it'll offload that information, keeping everybody in a complete fucking network mesh, all right, where everybody's constantly known where they're at. They're being tracked. Now, that's another thing that I say could be a high probability, okay? I don't know which way they're going to do it. Maybe both, all right? If they want complete control, probably some sort of mesh network where you have an RFID, you get close to someone within the radio frequency range, and your encrypted data gets put off onto them. It's going to be a very, very, very small file. All right, and then it gets, they walk somewhere, and theirs gets to someone, and they end up going to a store, and then boom, 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 you just uploaded 5 people's data, all right, for them to see. Even if those people, say they're like, I'm not, they got the chip, but they regret it or something, right? And they're not going to go, and they're going to try to live off grid. Well, you walked by someone, or if somebody knows you, it's going to be able to be instantly, updated, right there, transmitted to a data center. Anyway, those are just a couple of my hypotheses, right? An educated guess, if you will. But going back here, so I asked, tell me about the differences about this EMV chip technology that we have today with these contactless tap cards and dip chip. And I guess the dip chip is you actually have to put it into the terminal, and then contactless, of course, it's contactless. You don't, and really, it is fucking contact, all right? Because every time I've ever used contactless, and that's pretty much the only way I pay. Whether I use Apple Pay, right, on my phone. You just double click the power up, bing, right? And it's hooked up to your bank and everything. Or if I have to use my card, I usually don't use my card to tap. I use my card if I'm going to insert it, all right? And the only place I really do have to do that is at Walmart, or if I'm, passing someone on my card because I'm paying for some food out or something like that. And they're like, oh, here's my card, and then they'll tap it or whatever. But yeah, so dip cards, you have to dip it in, you have to insert it into the reader, right? It says tap cards use near field communication, or NFC, which is the same technology as we just read. And it's the same technology that's going to be going into people's skin. It says to transmit data wirelessly. There you go, wirelessly. It says speed. Dipping a card requires keeping it in the machine for several seconds. Tapping takes less than a second to complete. Wear and tear security. Anyway, that's the only difference, I guess. They basically both use the same thing, but dip cards require physical contact. Tap cards use NFC. Okay, but don't do dip cards. Do dip cards still have NFC? No, they do not standard. Well, almost nothing has a dip card anymore because the cards that I have, the card that you have, almost everybody's card, are dip cards null and void. It seems all cards have tap capabilities now. No, dip cards are not null and void, but they are rapidly becoming obsolete as major banks transition entirely to dual interface card that support both dipping and tapping. That's how mine is. It says a card that requires you to insert the chip is still fully valid, completely legal, and accepted at any standard payment terminal. The illusion that every card has tap capabilities exists because the payment landscape has reached a massing tipping point. Standard issue. Most major financial institutions like Chase, Bank of America, Capital One now issue dual interface cards by default. So, I mean, unless you're going to some, like, fucking run-of-the-mill, I don't even know what the fuck, all right, then, yeah, you're gonna have those cards with those capabilities, man. How long have I been going on for? An hour and 6 minutes. We're going to see how long we can go. Because I haven't touched on a lot of stuff on the sticky note. We haven't even got into it. We're talking about basically the mark of the beast right now. But this is all, it all plays in, all right? It all plays in. Now, like I said, I didn't have a title for this lesson, but I did make a little 80s horror movie style little thumbnail, right? Called The 13 Families, all right? Your leaders aren't as harmless as you think they are. Because a lot of people, oh, no, they're not. They're not as sinister as you're making them out to be. They are, all right? They are. And you see the tagline here. It says, the horror movie that you are forced to live. Hiding themselves throughout the whole world, 13 powerful men seek to gain control over all humanity by implementing a small microchip implant that will usher in a new world order and grant them total control over human biology. And that's what they want, you know, to basically be able to make you jump, jiddle, and dance, all right? And then, of course, the reviews, right? Total Control, Aaron Russo. Complete Tyranny by Alex Jones, which is not even a full quote. It's just, you know, he talks about, you know, tyrannical government, so I put that there. And, of course, another quote, George Carlin, it's a big club, and you're not in it. Right, and yeah, these are all stepping stone precursor technologies. All right, it says a mature technology that validates a concept and prepares society for the next leap. They're preparing you for the next leap, and there's another reason why you should not be ignorant of anything in a great matter or small. What's the next fucking leap, man? What is the next leap from this? Well, in your skin. All right, biometric technology. Okay, it says stepping stone technology. Tech adopted as an interim, if I'm pronouncing that right, solution, while the ultimate technology is being perfected or accepted. Then stepping stone technology, it's still being perfected, all right, because, again, I don't think that they could use the RFIDs that they do have right now, but it's a rapidly growing technology, and I think they're going to use some type of cloud-based RFID. While doing searches years ago, I found out about cloud RFID, and you can actually look that up. It's one company, I think, that's doing it, cloud RFID. Right here, cloud of RFID, and it's you see RFID fixed assets and IT inventory management system, and you see it's cloud based. You can request a demo and all that different types of shit, but they have all these different readers and RFID and barcode labels, RFID and barcode printers, inventory terminals, all sorts of different types of shit, right? So they're really working on it, right? They're really, really working on it. And NDAP Retail, I believe this is the one. Oh, excuse me. I guess there's a couple companies that are at least working on the concept. NDAP. But you can see it says ID Cloud is a scalable and user-friendly RFID solution, designed for retail applications, as for right now. RFID technology enables retailers to track every article in the store, replace article with human, all right, and store with world. It says, in stockroom, and quickly improve the stock accuracy to over 98% and significantly improve their on-shelf merchandise availability. What do we got here? Can we watch a little video?
So if I can have a kind of just a machine that told me, Julie, this is how many suits you have downstairs in the storage, this is how many shirts you have, this is how many pants you have. And your
shirts, people, okay? And it's in the cloud. Why is it in the cloud? Let's see. I think this is the one, rfidcloud.io. There's one that had a diagram. What is RFID Cloud? What is Cloud RFID? And how does it vary from standard RFID? Okay. Cloud RFID integrates radio frequency identification hardware, tags and readers, with cloud-based software. Instead of sending scan tag data on a local or on-site server, connected readers send data to the cloud infrastructure. It says connected cloud infrastructure. This allows businesses to process, manage, and analyze inventory or send or asset global. Analyze inventory or asset data globally and in real time. Real time and globally. What does globally mean? Let's look up that word. Across the whole world, universally, on an international scale. That's what they want. Okay, that's what they want. So anyway, let's get out of that. Let's get out of this. We forgot to get into this. It says, so why are news networks wanting to block Wayback Machine or remove it? Major news networks are blocking the Internet Archive and its Wayback Machine primarily to prevent generative AI company. You know, you could probably feel the face I'm making right now. You can't see it, but it's a little bit something like this. It's this face right here. All right, that's the face. Really? Really? To prevent generative AI company? You guys are the ones working on generative AI, man. You're the massive fucking. You want these data centers everywhere for AI, right? It's for AI, right? That's what the data centers are for, right? And data centers, you know, I gotta even be careful with saying what it is, but people are getting sick of data centers. Okay? People are getting sick of data centers. You know what I'm saying? They're getting sick of data centers. All right? When data centers are put around, it's making people feel sick about that situation. All right? Really sick. All right? With these data centers that are going up. All right? So, read between the lines. And, you know, because people, when data centers come around, it just makes them sick. They just can't stand it. It just makes them sick, right? And they're putting those data centers everywhere, right? You know, and it's like how when they went from the 3G to the 4G to 5G technology, and when 5G came out, that rapid growth of technology, people, you know, said we should have stuck with the 4G, all right? It made them sick to think, right, that 5G was going to take over the technology of 4G. It really made them sick to think that they were going to roll out 5G everywhere. Okay, it really pissed them off. It grinded their gears, and it made them feel sick. All right, with anger, right? Very sick, right, with anger. Between the lines, right? But so yeah, man, you know, that's the type of shit that they're doing. They want to put data centers everywhere, and why are they going to put data centers everywhere? Is it for the AI? Or is there a more sinister and nefarious reason behind it, right? Because data centers, it's data. That's what it's for. It's for data. What type of data? Is it just AI? Surely you're not building all these giant data centers just for AI, right? Anyway. And I assume some of them are more akin to warehouses, right? big warehouses, ones that could store multiple people, if theoretically. Not that they would do that, but maybe they would, right? Between the lines, all right? Got to be careful with YouTube. Can we reasonably believe that they would do something like that? So sinister? Well, if you would have to, the earth would have to be given into the hand of the wicked, if that was the case, right? Which reminds me of a scripture, right? I want to read. Matter of fact, Job 9, 9 and 24. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the earth is given in the hand of the wicked. Now, who's the wicked? We've talked about it time and time again. Esau, Edom. All right, the border of wickedness. So the earth is given in the hand of the wicked. Right down here, it says Malachi 1:4, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. So these people are in rulership right now, the wicked. All right, who is it? Esau, Edom. So the people that are in rulership now are the Edomites. Okay, and who are the people? Who's the people on the money? What people? Well, so-called Europeans. All right, of multiple different varieties. All right, Caucasian, whatever you want to call them. Right? They're the Edomites. Okay, they just go by different names because, again, they gotta have, they gotta, try to be a little bit crafty. They gotta be a little bit smooth with it. They're not so smooth with it because the Lord, puts every time they try to put up a veil, the Lord, burns a little bit of it away, bit by bit by bit, and that's part of the, the wicked being revealed. And as we're gonna get, and we're coming into that time, and that's an end time prophecy. There's, let me just open it up in Bible Gateway, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7 through 9. It says, for the mystery of iniquity doth, that iniquity is sin upon sin, wickedness, all right, just horrible wickedness. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Okay, until he's taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed. So the wicked's going to be, who's that wicked? It's capital W, the wicked. It's referring to Esau, Edom. Then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonder. And really, these guys are coming in the workings of Satan. All right, they don't worship the Lord. They worship, Satan. They worship evil. They worship death. They worship themselves. Really, they're devil worshipers, and they're the devil, right? And they worship themselves. They think they're God. They think they're above all. All right, they think they're the creators. They think it's their hubris is insane. All right, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. That's Esau, Edom, and they're so prideful, man. They think that they're like better than the Lord. Wasn't there an old song called like Bigger Than God? I think it was capitalized. Bigger Than God. No. There was an album. It's not that album. It could be this. Because I am into, collecting VHS and cassette tapes. I never grew out of that. So, this might have been something, because I am on Discogs. I've been on Discogs lately, so this very well could be it. I guess it's a compilation called Bigger Than God, right? That's out of the UK, right? So, who would have guessed, right? the shit like this, right? Greater than God. Well, you know, people try to be edgy and shit, but it could also be from the band. Um, Bigger Than God, Tribute to Poison Idea, 2007, a punk rock compilation album. Um, I don't like hardcore bands. I think they're fucking dumb. I think they're actually worse than dumb. I think they're fucking, you know. Anyway, the old word for happy. All right, that's what I think they are. But anyway, you know, as it says in 8, 2 Thessalonians 7 and 8, it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed. Well, we're getting bits and pieces right now. You know, the veil is slipping. But there is going to be a complete reveal. All right? There is going to be a complete reveal. And one thing that I also wanted to show, and the real reason that I started this lesson, other than, you know, watching this lesson and seeing the master plan and going into that, but I looked it up. That's all I did is I looked it up, right? So again, go and subscribe. I'm going to close out of this. But go and subscribe to the GMS Mailbag channel. It's Apostle Gabar's side channel. He'll be putting some good stuff on. But one of the things I did was I went and I looked up the master plan of the Illuminated Rothschilds. It came up like this, right? And these things came up. And you get an AI overview. But what I did is I went to the AI mode, right? And AI mode will give you a whole bunch of stuff, right? Now I actually have somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So this is the second one I have. This is when I was asking it more questions. I had to ask it differently because the first time I thought it was quite interesting. I said the master plan of the Illuminated Rothschilds, and you see it says it's a conspiratorial concept, yada yada yada, and they call it this, right? That's what they said, and I said. So, because it said in 1920th century's anti-Shem propagandists and conspiracy theories combined these two groups and fabricated false narratives and forged documents like the protocols of the elders. And that's not bullshit either. They call it bullshit. It says they claim that the Illuminati was secretly controlled by tiny top banking families such as the Rothschilds, all right, the Red Shields. It says an alleged plot for global finance alleged plot to control global finance systems to establish a new world order. Well, that's what they're trying to do. And you say it's an alleged plot to control global financial systems. All right. Well, before you go global, you have to start local. Okay, and that's exactly what was done during the creation of the Federal Reserve, and that's not bullshit. That's historical. So I said, why are conspiracy theories about powerful people fine, but labeled as anti-Shem when it's powerful, tiny top people? And they said, conspiracy theories about powerful people are labeled as anti-Shem when they rely on specific centuries-old anti-tiny top tropes rather than evidence. Well, we have plenty of evidence, all right? Isn't the creation of the Federal Reserve evidence enough, all right? You might say it's not enough, but there's quite a bit of information just in that alone. Just in that alone. You can't say that it's anti-Shem because it's, again, the people that were involved with it were heavily tiny top-ish, right? And or if they weren't tiny tops themselves, they were working or representing tiny tops, all right, such as J.P. Morgan, the Rothschilds, the Rockefeller. So I think it was the Rothschilds specifically. Let me see. He was an investor firm. But one of these, he was representing J.P. Morgan. There was another individual that was representing J.P. Morgan as well. Let me see if I can try to find it. Oh, here it is. I have it here. And I can go down here. Who all created it? You see, representing Rockefeller interests, partner at J.P. Morgan, secretary at the U.S. Treasury, J.P. Morgan ally, and so on and so forth. The Wolf of Wall Street, Wall Street, and so on and so forth. Right, just over and over and over again. So during when I was asking this, and you can go and look up any of this information if you want, but I asked that and it said, oh, evil intent, blood libel, and all these different things, right? And I said, well, who founded the Federal Reserve? Right? Because you're saying they want to have globalist control, all right? That they want to form this global financial system, all right? Well, before you go global, you got to start local. And so I just asked, I said, who founded the Federal Reserve? And it said the Federal Reserve was founded by the United States Congress and President Woodrow Wilson, and then who then signed the Federal Reserve Act into law on December 23rd, 1913. Anyway, this is where it stopped, and I thought this was interesting because it hung, and it said the architects of the blueprint, the Jekyll Island Group, 3 years prior to the law's passage in November 19th, a secret meeting took place at the Jekyll Island Club in Georgia, organized to draft a secret club. So you're saying a bunch of people that have worked for the interest of the tiny tops fucking convened together, conspired, all right, and got together and had a secret meeting in a secret meeting place to go and try to, gain control over basically the federal government, all right, as far as the money goes. And that's not that's a harmful trope. That's fact. That's historical fact. And it stopped here. It stopped. It says something went wrong and the content wasn't generated. It stopped. It just, when it was dealing with the Jekyll Island, it just stopped working. All right. It said they got the structural framework for what eventually became the regional Federal Reserve System. Something went wrong. And it said this group's work and that's it. It stopped. It says plan for banking reform. This group's works and then it stopped. Right? Now I could probably, why couldn't you generate it? See if it can even get it. Let's see. It says I could generate the information. Oh. Why couldn't you generate it? Which says you stopped at Jekyll Island. Okay. I apologize for that frustration. Sometimes my system hits an internal technical glitch or a safety filter triggers incorrectly mid-sentence, causing the generation to cut off with the error message. Cut off with that error message. Essentially, cut off right at Jekyll Island. Here's the complete uninterrupted information about the meeting, how it shaped the Federal Reserve. You don't think it's a... You don't think it's a little weird how you glitched out at that specific moment? Yeah, it even admits it. See, this is and when you do that, it gives everything away. It says, I completely understand why that looks incredibly suspicious. Stopping mid-sentence right as the word secret or Jekyll Island comes up feels like an AI is being censored or trying to hide something. I never said censored. But that shows you that it is being censored. You're trying to hide something. All right? Really, it's a technical coincidence. Sure. All right? No hidden... What did it say? No hidden secrets. Sure. Anyway, you know how these guys are a bunch of liars, really, at the end of the day. But I think we're gonna get into this. I'm debating on how I want to do it, though. Debating because we're already in an hour and 30 minutes. Let me think. We'll read a little bit more, right? We'll read through this, all right, because I don't want this to go away. And then I'll get some scriptures, and then we'll close out, and then maybe we'll do a whole different other thing about the master plan, all right? But let's finish up with the because Eustace Mullins, all right, another individual. I don't remember if he was mentioned in any of these, but I was going through my things that I have, and the secrets of Jekyll Island, or the secrets of the Federal Reserve, and then Jekyll Island comes up, and then there's another thing called the blank of Jekyll Island, the creature from Jekyll Island. Right, that's the whole thing. An investigative look, all right, of look into the Federal Reserve System. It's by G. Edward Griffin. All right, that's a whole nother situation. But which I'm not sure if I have that one. But we'll get into some of this stuff. Maybe we'll I'm debating. I think we'll close it. I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to close it because what I really want to do is I want to get this, and I want to go and look into the secrets of the Federal Reserve a little bit by Eustace Mullins. Okay? I do want to look into both of those. So I think what I'm going to do is, just in case this goes away, I'm going to just scroll through this ever so, gently. Right? It's like this. And so now that's archived right within the video. And in case it glitches out, tries to go away, I have it saved in the video. And then, of course, we have, we'll be going in on this. Chapter 1, Jekyll Island on page 13. Coincidentally enough, right? 13 Jewish families. Oops. Not them, but the Tiny Top families, right? And then, of course, 13 pages. But, and of course, 13 being also an illuministic number. But that's where we're going to close it because it's an hour and 31 minutes. All right, it's perfect cut. And I'll try to, continue this, pick this up tomorrow. More than likely. And Lord willing, be edifying in that way. Because we went an hour and 30 minutes, it's just going to be, I'm just going to do this one for the day, just one. And then, of course, I'll put some some edifying content up on the page, right? Up on the, the posts. I'll try my best, at least. Sometimes I end up falling asleep or end up not finding anything, but try my best to do that. And then, Lord willing, tomorrow we'll be back at it again. Lord willing, if the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua was to be, and I'm alive and well. And, of course, on top of being alive and well, the Lord wants us to continue going in this. I still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 whole scriptures, all right, that I didn't touch in this one because we ended up getting ones that I didn't have on the sticky note. Ended up talking about, the progenitor tech and a bunch of different types of situation. Really, this one was more about not being ignorant, all right, and of any matter, great or small, and RFID chip and predecessor technology and stuff like that. But tomorrow, Lord willing, I want to get in on Federal Reserve situation, and just secret councils and whatnot. Because those secret councils are the very same secret councils that are working with the Mark of the Beast technologies and whatnot as well. So that's where we're going to close it. All right. Lord willing, was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. Shem Yahweh Shai Ba Shem Wadash. Shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.